Chapter 2, How to Set Up the MOZA Air 2. To get the MOZA Air 2 up and running, the two most important items you will need is a charged set of batteries, the memory quick release plate, which is compatible with Manfrotto quick release plates. Let's install those batteries. To install the batteries, press down the battery cover release and lift up the battery cover. Install the back column batteries positive side up, and the front column of batteries positive side down. The battery life of the MOZA Air 2 is 16 hours. With a full charge, the MOZA Air 2 can film from daybreak to sunset. In this video, we will balance 4 different cameras. If you'd like to skip ahead, check the list. Sony a6300 with a 16-35mm lens, Panasonic GH5 with a 12-40mm lens, Sony a7S II with a 50mm lens, Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K with an Olympus 12-40mm lens. To help assist with balancing, attach the mini tripod to the MOZA Air 2 and engage the roll lock. We will also be installing the optional iFocus, which can control lens focus and lens zoom. Use the Allen key to attach the support rod adapter to the memory quick release plate. Screw in the rod hand tight. Let's now balance the Sony a6300 on the MOZA Air 2. Attach the memory quick release plate as far back as possible to the camera. This will later help with the mass of the iFocus. Attach the camera and quick release plate to the gimbal. Attach the iFocus to the follow focus support rod. Next, attach the lens gear to the focus ring. Once lens gear is secured, adjust the iFocus so the teeth of the iFocus mesh up with the lens gear. Connect the 3.5mm cable to the iFocus and the multi-CAN port of the MOZA Air 2. And lastly, turn on the iFocus. To adjust the pitch axis balance, slide the camera forward and backwards. Now position your camera with the lens pointed up. In this position, we'll be able to adjust the height of the camera's center of gravity. Note, leaving this adjustment in the lowest possible position does not guarantee the balance is correct. Moving along the roll arm leads to the roll axis. Adjust the roll arm in and out till the camera no longer rises or falls. The last adjustment is the yaw axis. Hold the gimbal horizontal and take note of the roll motor's position. If the roll motor's position is high, then the yaw arm will need to be pulled out. If the roll motor's position is below, then the yaw arm will need to be pushed in. The next camera we will balance is the Panasonic GH5. Attach the quick release plate as far back as possible to the camera. This will help compensate for the weight of the iFocus. When balancing a camera with a flip-out monitor, balance the gimbal with the monitor in the operator's desired position. Adjust the iFocus so the teeth of the iFocus mesh up with the lens gear. Connect the 3.5mm cable to the iFocus and the multi-CAN port of the MOZA Air 2. And lastly, turn on the iFocus. After that, to adjust the pitch axis balance, slide the camera forward and backwards. Now position the camera with the lens pointed up. In this position, you'll be able to adjust the height of the camera's center of gravity. Moving along the roll arm leads us to the roll axis. Adjust the roll arm in and out so the roll arm no longer rises or falls. The last adjustment is the yaw axis. Hold the gimbal horizontal and take note of the roll motor's position. If the roll motor's position is high, then the yaw arm will need to be pulled out. If the roll motor's position is below, then the yaw arm will need to be pushed in. Now let's balance the Sony a7S II with a 50mm lens. When attaching the quick release plate to the camera, ensure that the iFocus can line up with the focus ring of the lens. Attach the lens gear to the lens. After that, attach the iFocus to the follow focus support rod. Adjust the iFocus so the teeth of the gear wheel mesh with the lens gear. Plug in the CAN connection cable to the iFocus and the CAN connection port on the MOZA Air 2. To adjust the balance of the pitch axis, slide the camera forward and backwards. Now position the camera with the lens pointed up. In this position, we'll be able to adjust the height of the camera's center of gravity. Moving along the roll arm leads to the roll axis. Adjust the roll arm in and out so the roll arm no longer rises or falls. The last adjustment is the yaw axis. Hold the gimbal horizontal and take note of the roll motor's position. If the roll motor's position is high, then the yaw arm will need to be pulled out. If the roll motor's position is below, then the yaw arm will need to be pushed in. The final camera we're balancing is a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K. For the setup, we're using an extra quick release plate to adjust the camera over to the left. The quick release plate is mounted to the memory quick release plate. Attach the camera to the MOZA Air 2. Attach the iFocus to the follow focus support rod. Adjust the iFocus so its teeth mesh up with the lens gear. To adjust the balance of the pitch axis, slide the camera forward and backward. Now position the camera with the lens pointed up. In this position, we'll be able to adjust the height of the camera's center of gravity. Connect the CAN cable to the iFocus and the CAN port on the MOZA Air 2. Moving along the roll arm leads us to the roll axis. Adjust the roll arm in and out so the roll arm no longer rises or falls. The last adjustment is the yaw axis. Hold the gimbal horizontal and take note of the roll motor's position. If the roll motor's position is high, then the yaw arm will need to be pulled out. If the roll motor's position is below, then the yaw arm will need to be pushed in. If you want to attach other accessories to your camera setup, like lights or microphones, you may need to make adjustments to the camera's balance after attaching those accessories. Here we have attached an aperture LED light. Also, the MOZA Air 2 features an unreleased accessory stand. Also, if you want to get some feedback on your ability to balance, press the menu button, tap down on the smart wheel to highlight gimbal set, click right, highlight calibration, click right, highlight balance check, click right. During balance check, do not touch the gimbal. The Air 2 will give you a readout to help you identify if you need to make adjustment to the gimbal's balance. Select the correct camera connection cable for your camera. The MOZA Air 2 can support Sony, Canon, Panasonic, Nikon, Fuji, and LAC connections. Connect the cable to the MOZA Air 2 and then the camera. Press the menu button, highlight camera set, then press right on the smart wheel, highlight select, press right, tap down to highlight the correct camera model, press right to select that camera model. Some camera models can be powered and charged over the USB camera connection cable. Now that your camera is connected, you can use the MOZA Master app to program a time-lapse, control ISO, and use the power button to activate the camera's shutter. To use the dial on the gimbal's handle to control the iFocus, press the M button to select channel F1. To control focus over USB, select channel FE. To use the dial to control the roll axis, select R. Now that the camera is set up in the MOZA Air 2, let's get the best performance from the gimbal by using autotune. Make sure you correctly balance the gimbal and the gimbal is placed on a stable surface before continuing. Press the menu button, tap down on the smart wheel to highlight gimbal set. Click right, highlight motor, click right, highlight power, click right to select, highlight autotune and click right to start. Also, autotune can be activated by holding the FN button